This is the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour.
Supported by Albertsons
And
Omni Hotels and Resorts.
brought to you by
Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys. Choose VA. Veterans get the benefits you've earned. Visit choose.va.gov. And by Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance.
now your hosts, Shannon Gross and Brad Sham.
Welcome, everybody. It's the Cowboy Hour. And it's Victory Monday.
Hey, let's go. Let's go.
So much winning, and we're just not tired of the winning. So much winning. And we are delighted to be back in the South Concourse of the Ford Center at the Star, our regular for this season, our usual Monday night stop, except when it's not on Monday night. And delighted to have all of you who have come out here with us. Thank you for coming out on Victory Monday. Big Cowboy fans. And we have people listening all across the Dallas Cowboys radio network. We're delighted to have all of you listening, and those of you who will be joining us whenever you do during the week, streaming on DallasCowboys.com. Mm-hmm. Hi, y'all. How y'all doing? Nice to have you with us. And so for a big Victory Monday, we've got a big Cowboy. We've got the great Tyron Smith, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Number 77.
What's the over-under on words spoken by Tyron on this show tonight?
Why do you do that?
He's,
He knows you too well, that's why.
But, Tyron,
someone said 15.
no, what year is this? Your 11th year? No,
11th
your
year.
11th
That
year?
is unbelievable.
Yeah. And how many years have you been doing this show once a year with me?
Every year.
Every year,
Yeah.
right? So clearly, Shannon, the number of words that Tyron says is just, I don't see that to be a concern. Tyron is a great guest, and we have what's now a little running joke between us, except it's really not a joke. I always walk up to him and shake his hand and I say, excuse me, you may not know me, I'm Brad Sham, and I'm your biggest fan. And I am. I really am. But I am because having gotten to know Tyron when he came in as a rookie, it's been great to see his growth as a man, as a human being, as well as into a probable Hall of Fame offensive tackle. I just said those words right out loud. So you sounded to me like you had a little cold. You had a little cold going?
I'm all good.
You're all good?
I'm all good. Just a little allergies here.
A little allergies, okay. Yeah. There's another thing that we have that's a kind of a running thing between us. Tyron something will happen in the game. You know, he'll look like he got dinged up a little bit, or he'll miss a practice. And in the days when we were allowed in the locker room, I would walk up to Tyron, nobody else around. I would say, "How are you doing?" And he would say, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm all good. But this year, you really are, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Can you tell us, can you describe what that procedure was that you had in the off season?
So it was a surgery in my neck to where the bones in my neck were pinching on my nerve. And so we had to go in, create a bigger canal for that nerve to go through so it doesn't get pinched by those bones anymore, I guess. And it was a long recovery, but it fixed the problem, and it's no longer a problem for me anymore.
When did you have the surgery?
It was early in the season last year.
Early in the season. So it took you like almost the better part of a full calendar year to combine recover and rehab and get back into playing condition.
Pretty much.
And was this something that had ever been diagnosed before and suggested, or was this a diagnosis that they just came upon last year?
No, every year I've been getting like stingers in my neck. Every year I've been dealing with that forever, and it just started getting worse as time went along. And then last year was just time to fix it.
Yeah, you know, it seems to me, I've never had a stinger, I don't think, but I do have enough back issues that with nerve impingement that I know if something's going on in my neck, and it's time to fix it could have been before last year, because you wore the helmet. How long ago did you start wearing that which you don't anymore, that great big collar.
About 4 or 5 years ago, started wearing it. Yeah.
And what did that supposedly do to alleviate the problem?
It was helping from getting that nerve pinch, but the neck rope only help out so much, and so now I really don't even wear a neck roll anymore.
I've noticed.
Yeah.
Were you ever worried about like walking in the future and that kind of stuff?
No, actually, no. I just honestly just try to get the problem fixed.
Did you think you'd just like look in a mirror and say, "I'm Tyron Smith, and you are not pinching my nerve anymore"?
There was no way that was going to stop me.
What is this? What is a? You hear it all the time. It's a football term. What is a stinger?
So it's a different reaction for some people. For me, it was a feeling that my whole arm went numb, and then my shoulder felt like it was on fire. And it just takes a while. It took a while for it just to cool down and kind of get that feeling back. And
When you say a while, is that like 5 minutes? Is that like 5 days?
about 5-10 minutes, and kind of get the feeling back. But after a while, it's just a little more sensitive after that.
Do you remember the first time you started having those?
Yeah, I still remember my first one.
Really?
Yeah,
When was it?
high school.
In high
wow.
school.
Yeah.
Okay. And now, were you still playing both ways then?
Yeah, I was.
And did you get that on defense or offense?
I was on offense.
And how often did you have them in high school?
Just every once in a while, and then as I start getting older, of course, they start occurring a little bit more.
And you never thought that was just, let me wait 10 minutes and that'll stop, my shoulder will stop being on fire and then I'll go absorb another blow.
Well, I felt fine after that, so.
You've had 2 surgeries. What was the other one in 17? What was that one for?
No, it was just a neck.
Oh, you were on injured reserve,
Yeah,
but you didn't have a surgery then 4
No.
years ago? Okay, so this was the only one.
yeah. I've just been dealing with the back for years.
And you're back. That's right. So when they finished this, and what did they say? Okay, you are now good to go into time immemorial. This will never be a problem again.
It'll never be a problem again, and I'll feel it every once in a while, but it'll never be that extreme.
Have you felt anything yet?
No.
Because you look like you're playing like as well as you ever have. That's what it looks like to the uninitiated.
Yeah, it feels good.
Yeah. What do you look like to yourself on tape?
For me, I'm my hardest critic, so I always feel like I could do better. And so, of course, I always, like the past few games, I feel like I could have done a lot better for my team.
What could you have done better? Let me just remind everyone that you're rushing for like over 200 yards a game, and no one's getting past you. Yeah, I've seen once or twice you got turned sideways. Somebody maybe got a little pressure in the pocket. Do you expect complete cleanliness on your assignment every time?
For me, I'm always trying to be perfect as much as I can be. So I always try to figure any kind of mistake any kind of mistake I have in the game.
Have you ever had a perfect game?
No, it's impossible to have a perfect game, but it's good to strive for it.
Have you been close to a perfect game?
Got close before.
How often does that happen?
Rare.
So we were chatting before we came out here, and obviously for an offensive lineman, what the team does, every player says what the team does is that's what I'm here for. But for an offensive lineman, he's got no statistics except the ones he helps provide for someone else. And so I've always felt that offensive linemen really and truly have to mean it when they say it's all about the team and it's all about winning. So how much more satisfying or accomplished is it as a feeling for you when your offense is scoring like you are and you're running like you are, and you know that the 5 of you are the reason why?
I think it has a part of everybody's being selfish right now, and everybody's playing for one another, not really thinking about stats or anything like that. They're actually just worried about one day at a time and taking care of what we have to get done, doing your job.
Does this season feel like any other season to you?
It's a little different. Like I said before, it's a little unselfish this year. Everybody just, like I said before, everybody's playing for each other.
We were, media was talking to Kellen Moore a little while ago, and Kellen brought up, as a reminder, in 2016, when Dak and Zeke were rookies, Kellen was actually the backup quarterback ahead of Dak when you went to camp, got hurt in camp, And so he was Dak's teammate, and I reminded him, and I'm going to ask you the same thing now. In that year, you know, you started, lost the first game, as I recall, and then, you know, got off on a great run, and no one seemed to want to believe it. It didn't seem real to people around. Like, well, they've got to go to Green Bay. Wait till they go to Green Bay. Oh, well, they beat Green Bay. Well, wait till they go to Pittsburgh. And so the question that I asked him, and that I'm going to ask you now, is there anything about what you remember about what that role felt like in 2016 that's comparable in any way to this one?
It's to the point to where we're having much fun as we did back then, but it seemed like more of a more of an adult team. Everybody's a little more mature this year, and understand what we have to get done this year.
So does that go beyond the fact that obviously Dak and Zeke literally had no idea what they were doing? They were chasing, which I kind of think of that of Micah Parsons right now. You remember you didn't play for Parcells. Bill Parcells used to say when he had a great, energetic young player who was doing it all on energy, Parcells used to say he's just chasing cars. and you're a dog guy,
yeah.
And so you know what it's like when dogs are out chasing cars. And I think of that sometimes. So was that team kind of chasing cars more, and this team is a little more grown up?
I just think kind of everybody's a little bit all over the place back then, but it was also getting our job done. But it was just we was enjoying it. This year it was just more of everybody's on a mission and knowing what we have to get done. It's not no fooling around or anything like that.
Do you feel a sense of urgency personally on behalf of the team as well as yourself that you have not felt before because you're 11 years in?
Just you don't get that many chances at this, so you got to make it count.
So is that a yes?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, good. Okay. So some of the conversations Tyron and I have had in the past that I've found most illuminating have to do with how he became a great NFL player. And we're going to talk about that. And also, I was reminded looking at your bio that for most of your rookie year, you were 20 years old.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Speaking of being a little more mature, which means you're only 31.
Yeah. About
You're only 30. You're December, right?
Yeah.
12th?
Yeah.
You were the largest.
I am Tyron Smith's biggest fan. I'm just
You
telling
were
you.
the largest 20-year-old I had ever met in my life, and you're the largest 31-year-old.
30 right now, 30 at the moment.
I'm trying to push it a little bit.
No,
I
don't
see
put
it.
Yeah.
30-year-old that I have still met.
He would like you to not push it quite so fast. Tyron Smith is with us this evening on the Cowboys Hour on Victory Monday. Victory Monday.
Yes. And you know what, Brad?
What, Shannon?
And Tyron, when it comes time to shop for tailgate favorites, go to Albertsons and Tom Thumb. Get 10% off your groceries every Dallas Cowboys game day when you wear your Cowboys jersey. Did you know if you wore your jersey after the game, you get 10% off your groceries?
No clue.
You do now. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys.
And we'll be right back with Tyron Smith on the Cowboys Hour.
To the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and Omni Hotels and Resorts.
And welcome back to the Cowboys Hour. Brad Sham and Shannon Gross and our special guest, perennial All-Star Tyron Smith. I mean, it's true. You've played 10 years. You've made 7 Pro Bowls, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and the only times that you didn't make the Pro Bowl were when you were a rookie and starting at right tackle and nobody knew you yet, and 2 years when you were on injured reserve.
Yeah.
So
Pretty good percentage there, Brad.
I would think that it's reasonable.
Yeah.
And you kind of just gave me that side-eye Tyron smile at the beginning when I said Hall of Famer. But you'd like to be in the Hall of Fame, wouldn't you?
I would love to, but just so early right now.
I see. I love that you're 11 years in and saying it's so early.
Yeah.
I love that. Are there any individual things that can motivate an offensive lineman, since there are no statistics?
I guess offensive line is like probably the most unselfish position because we do our job so everybody else can be great, and we take pride in that. And so we could keep the guys off our guys. So we're pretty much doing our job. We love it. So
other than what happens in the offensive line room, and when it comes award time, how do you get your recognition?
by doing our job, making sure everybody's on the same page. That's how we enjoy it. If everybody's doing their job, then we have fun.
But everybody wants to talk to Dak and Zeke and CD and Coop, and we'll throw in a Pollard and Gallup when he comes back, and let's throw Diggs in because he's intercepting everything in sight. And did it at any point in high school, at SC, as a rookie in the league, as a player going through, did it ever bother you that people rarely seem to want to talk to offensive linemen, unless they're Travis Frederick, who figured out how to make it work for him? He was the greatest I ever saw. Does that never?
Nah, we were a group, we love staying under the radar. It's always been like that ever since I started playing.
Was it like that all the way back in high school?
Yeah. We're always the group stay under the radar, stay out of trouble, and just do our job.
If someone talks, I feel like there's this unwritten code between offensive linemen. Travis was a little bit out there, right? He would talk. But when someone talks too much, do y'all give them side eye like that and go, bro, calm down?
No. It's kind of they let the guys be themselves, but they know still stay under the radar.
So Mark Colombo coached you for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know this, you might. When Mark played, when he came here from the Bears and rebuilt his knee and turned himself back into an outstanding player and just one of my favorites of all time. And Mark, they had a little thing where if you were an offensive lineman and you talked to a reporter, were seen talking to a reporter, Colombo, they'd have a little kangaroo court, and Colombo was the judge, and he would walk by and fine guys on the spot.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right. But Zach talks once a week most of the time.
Yeah, we let that rule kind of slip a little bit.
Because?
We have to.
Because he's Zach, right? Because he's a Hall of Famer. But here's what I just heard. We let that slip a little bit, which means, is there something like that in place now?
A little fine board, yeah. Kind of fine board, keep the guys in line a little bit, yeah.
What would who's in charge of the fine board?
I say mostly the older guys, so me, Zach. Yeah.
Who gets onto the fine board? How do you get on? How do you get fined?
I think it's among our little room, and the fines kind of get up there, I just say.
Would that be like paying for Thursday night dinner, or worse than that?
A little lower than that, not so bad.
A little lower than that.
Yeah, it just kind of adds up over the year.
Oh, so it's you don't pay up when you're fined. They tote them up to the end of the year, and then
We pick certain times to collect.
oh gosh, the images that are running through my mind. Okay,
I want to know about the shoes, man. So we usually the second segment we get into fashion a little bit.
I'm the wrong person about fashion.
You are not the wrong. Look, I mean, you're casual tonight, but like you can tell, like you put it together, and you're one of the best dressed, if not the best.
Did you put it together? Or did someone put it together for you?
I just put this sweats.
Okay,
Yeah.
But you look good, but it's fashionable. Like you're one of, if not the best dressed big men on the team.
Appreciate it.
Like you, I think you take pride in. You weren't always this way when you were younger.
No.
But recently, the last 5-6 years, you really you like to dress up on game day.
I think it's more of just getting a little older. It's starting a little dress up, more business casual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, explain the shoes you have on tonight. I like those.
This is some random Jordans I literally just found on the Nike site. Just bought. They look comfortable.
Online.
Yeah.
I was hoping there'd be a better story behind that,
No,
but they still look
so you're
good.
the wrong person to ask for
They
fashion.
still look good.
By the way, we got quite a fashion lesson from J-Ron Kurz last week.
Really?
Oh yeah. When you have an afternoon, bring that up. Bring that up to him. And I love talking about it. But I have remarked that Shannon usually wins the sock game, and I think he has tonight. And I admitted that I conceded the sock. I did not give up.
He wore house shoes.
They're not house shoes. They're new shoes-ish, but they're best worn without socks. But I will confess that I thought, Tyron's not going to be wearing any socks.
You have socks on?
Yeah, little ankle socks.
Oh,
You can't see
they're
them.
well hidden.
It's like no socks. I would like to go back and revisit the 20-year-old who came to the NFL, because I think it's so instructive. All we see is the giant that you are dominating people, and we read your opponent's comments that forget about it. Once he gets his hands on you, forget it's all over. And I just found it so interesting when we have talked through the years about how much you've learned and how you learned it, and how when you look back, refresh my memory, I seem to recall you telling me when you left SC and came here, 9th pick in the draft, you thought you knew how to play offensive line.
Yeah, until I was trying to figure out the whole playbook, and we had that weird year with the lockout, so we wouldn't allow to have a playbook until we got to camp. So I literally was running around like
And that was your rookie year.
Yeah. So I was running around like I had no idea what I was doing. So luckily I had Kyle Kozer at that time to kind of help me along, and Andre Gerard kind of helped me with the playbook. They kind of helped me at least get the gist of it so I could at least play.
So this is an interesting side note that diverges from you for a minute, but you were the right tackle that year.
Yeah.
And Kyle Kozer was the right guard.
Yeah.
So when there was talk, when LC was suspended, and what are we going to do? And then we can get into Terrence Steele in a few minutes, but nobody knew that he was going to play as well. Maybe you guys did, maybe the coaches did, but the rest of the world didn't know he was going to play as well as he has. So people talked about moving Zach back out to right tackle, and they then lost sight of the communication that goes on between the right guard and the people on either side of him. So Kozer helped you, and Gerard helped him, and he helped you?
Well, Dre just helped me with the more of like the playbook more, whenever we got a break. Kyle Kozer kind of helped me out on the field. If I had trouble, like just knowing where to go or figure out the play, he helped me out so I didn't have to think that much.
How does that communication work?
Communication is everything, so it allows you to play quick and make sure everybody's on the same page.
And so you've had now 1 year at right tackle, right? And then you moved to left tackle, and you've had to break in a couple of left guards. The 1 year, I would like you to tell everybody about in 16. Here's one thing I remember about 16. They signed Lyle Collins. They tried to make him the left guard. He started a couple of games. I think he got hurt. And Ron Leary, who had probably outperformed him in training camp, I remember you and Ron walking off the field in training camp together. You would listen to him, and Ron was not happy about not playing. But the whole thing coalesced when Ron Leary went in and played left guard.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
What happened then? And tell me about the communication you two guys had going.
Well, me and Ron, we automatically had a history playing next to each other. We knew the communication amongst each other, and people would joke around about, the way I grunt and everything sometimes, but he understood it and knew exactly what I was talking about.
All right. Give me. You walk up to the line. We're in a game, okay? Walk up to the line.
Why don't you, for the benefit of the Cowboys.com cameras, why don't you get up and walk over there and pretend to be a defensive lineman in front of Tyron?
Okay.
So and Tyron,
I don't have to move, right?
No, we're eye level, and you're sitting down.
No, you just but pretend you're in your stance, and Shannon's gonna. Okay.
Now give me an example of.
I'm sorry for those of you who are now looking at Shannon's backside. I'm sorry,
but give me an example of communication in a game. What would you say? Like you walk up to the line, you see something. Do you just point?
I'll point or say alert, 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 or just give you a.
Okay, so do it in your game day voice. Say it as loud as you would say on game day.
I really ain't gonna say it loud.
But that's it. Sometimes it's and sometimes it's alert, and that's it.
Yeah, but he just knew what I was saying though.
Okay,
he knew what I meant.
I've always wondered that because you hear offensive linemen talk about how critical it is to communicate, and you don't ever hear the quarterbacks, you hear the wide receivers, you hear the DBs, but you never hear. You hear linebackers yelling out, but you never hear offensive linemen. So I didn't know if it was just a pat and a point or if it's really communication.
There's so much communication going on that just along down the line, make sure everybody's on the same page.
So do you ever just say, hey, you got this guy, I got this guy?
That or, hey, get back, hey, alert, this guy coming on the edge.
Okay.
We got to go.
All right.
How do you recognize I love the inside baseball stuff. Can you always tell when they're going to run a twist?
You kind of have a feel for it, and it comes along with your studying throughout the week, so you know when they're going to do it.
And you've practiced that, and so are you ever surprised by the particular kind of stunt that they run?
Every once in a while, you'll get like something you haven't seen on tape, so you got to be prepared for anything.
And that's when you grunt. This is Offensive Line 101 with Tyron Smith, and we'll have more on the Cowboys Hour shortly.
Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's is the official pizza of the Dallas Cowboys.
And we'll be right back on the Cowboys Hour.
Back.
To the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and Omni Hotels and Resorts.
And as a matter of fact, at the Omni Frisco Hotel, you can kick off your stay at the official hotel of the Dallas Cowboys with style. Cool off in the elevated pool, savor upscale comfort food at neighborhood services, and enjoy all the dining and entertainment options the Star has to offer. Visit omnihotels.com/Frisco to learn more and turn the next home game, which will be in a few weeks, into a weekend getaway. And we're also brought to you by Lucchese, the official bootmaker of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. I'm Brad Sham with Shannon Gross, and our special guest tonight, Cowboys tackle Tyron Smith on Victory Monday.
Yeah.
Victory Monday.
Yeah.
Too early in the season for you guys to be given Mondays off.
Yeah, yes it is.
Do you like the bye coming as early as it does?
No,
Not
honestly,
really?
No,
No, yeah, okay. When do you like it?
like right in the middle of the season when you actually need it.
Well, but you'll need it when it comes,
Yeah,
won't you?
I'll take full advantage of it. Yeah, get some rest.
But you'd like a couple more weeks down the road.
Yeah.
Okay. So we were talking about Tyron's. We started talking about Tyron's matriculation into the All-Star that he is now. Before I sidetracked us, I would like to have you tell the people a little bit about some of the stuff you told me about how DeMarcus Ware helped you understand how to play tackle better because you could understand what the guy you were blocking was trying to do to you.
Well, he just told me about my alignment and how to trying to work my stance and kind of what to expect when a guy is going against me, that he's trying to set me up for moves. And it took me a lot of practice against him to understand how to block him and what to look for, and get the feeling when somebody's trying to set you up for a move to get the sack. And D Ware, a lot of battles against D Ware put me on my back and learned the hard way, but figured it out. And it was a lot of work after practice, almost every day to try to help me out. And if I needed help, he was there to help me.
Who did he come to you when you moved to his side, or did you ask him, or did someone else suggest that the two?
Honestly, he saw that I needed help me and just helped me. And then if I asked any questions, he was there to help. So it was kind of that understanding.
So if my memory is right, your third year you made your first Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Then you went to 7 in a row. And somewhere in there, did young defensive ends start coming to you and saying, "Hey, I can't get around you. Will you please help me out here? What do I do?"
I did my best if anybody came to ask me for help, I did my best to try to explain it.
But only if they ask.
Yeah. But honestly, for the team we have now, I'm kind of be a little more vocal this year, kind of help guys out, we need our best guys out there. So yeah.
There are reporters all over town listening to this whose ears just perked up. You're trying to be more vocal? What's it like when you're being more vocal?
Dang.
Are you talking about on the practice field or in the meeting room?
Just on the practice field. I'm obsessed with technique. So if anything can fine tune anything, it's a big help.
Which coaches started to? As I recall, you also told me you thought you knew about how to play a tackle when you came in from SC. And when you were at Southern California, did you just know you were physically better than almost everybody you were going to come up against, and you didn't really need to worry about much else than strength?
Honestly, I never thought that way. I was still trying to figure out the game back then, and trying to just still at that time try to be the best player for my team.
And when did you become obsessed with technique?
Once I understood there was a lot more to it, and I came across Bill Callahan, and he knew just so many different type of techniques that he can write a book on this whole thing.
And how many years were you with him?
I was with Callahan for about 3 years.
And he's reputed to be one of the best offensive line coaches ever. You've had some good ones. Hudson Houck, your first one was Hud. I'll never forget Hud. Was nearing retirement, but he said, "I think we're going to draft that guy, and I want to coach him. So I'm not retiring until I get to work with him a little bit." And so now Joe Philbin has been here a couple of years, and he's a veteran coach, well-respected, been a head coach. What is unique about the way Joe Philbin coaches your group?
No, he makes sure that you actually understand what you're doing on the field before you even step out there. He's the heck of a teacher, and he does a good job making sure you have the fundamentals down of any kind of technique at all. And those kind of things kind of slip away from you after a while. It's good to get a reminder on those every once in a while.
I mean, can you explain to people who have never played offensive line what kind of technique, just one or two little technique things maybe Joe's helped you with?
Honestly, it's more of like you forget about your first two steps in any kind of play, whether it's run play or pass play. And it's good to kind of get that reminder, or any kind of run play or anything like that, kind of just getting it fit in the right spot, and so you have as much power as possible.
Okay, I don't want to let the time go by, and we will have the microphone up here at the rope so you folks can ask Tyron questions in the questioning segment of the program. This is not the questioning segment. This is just the discussion portion. Don't look at me like that. I completely lost my train of thought. Terrence Steele, how and why is he better than he was last year?
Depending, everybody's rookie year doesn't go as smoothly as you always want it to be. But Terrence is an example that he actually learned from everything from last year, and then got better. And he came with a purpose this year to, whenever it was his time to play, he was ready.
We're told he won one of the off-season workout awards. Mm-hmm. So what does that mean? That talks about frequency and results of work in the off-season program?
It just showed how much it meant to him to put in the work in the off-season to come back ready.
But that doesn't mean you'll be able to do it well.
No.
And he's been doing it pretty well.
Yeah.
What's he doing better?
Honestly, his technique's a lot better. He has a better understanding of the game. He's not second-guessing himself, and he's just playing a lot faster.
Who on this, we talked a lot about the offensive line. Mm-hmm. Who got a bunch of new faces, a bunch of young guys on defense. Who impresses you on the defensive side of the ball?
That are new faces?
Yeah, or just anybody in general.
For me, I'm always, because I go against him a lot, is Randy. He's always one of those guys that improves every year. And you can tell that he's definitely becoming one of the elite rushers in the league. And he's under the radar, which is great. But after a while, we need to start respecting him.
That thing I was saying before about how D-Ware kind of schooled you, mm-hmm. and people could look. We could watch, see in practice and training camp, and okay, well, DeMarcus is making him better, and pretty quickly it got to okay, well, let's see him go up against Tyron, and then we'll see what he's got. How about the first few times you and Randy went head to head?
When his younger days, it was still trying to figure it out, and I was also trying to figure out what kind of rusher he was. As the years go by, now it's like it's a legitimate battle between me and him now, and you got to be on your game with him. He's a lot bigger than he was, and a lot faster than he was back then.
A lot of talk, this year about Micah, mm-hmm. and now what they're starting to do with him on defense, putting him different spots, moving him around. Yeah. What is it? You go against that in practice, mm-hmm. I'm assuming, where they're putting him in different spots. What does that do to an offensive line? Is he a guy that you have to account for where he's at on the field yet, or is he becoming that guy? Like, what do you see out of him on defense right now?
He's one of those guys that if you're going against him, you're going to be running a marathon the whole game. So
chasing cars, you know what you said?
Chasing cars. It wasn't me, it was Parcells. But when I watch him, he's terrific. He's a player with an unlimited future. I think of a Labrador puppy. He's just full of energy.
Chewing on the furniture.
Just full of energy and running around and with a purpose for a minute. Does he look like that at all when you're watching him from the bench or looking at him on film?
When I'm watching play, it seems like he is, wherever that ball is, he's going to go find it. And he's one of those guys you got to keep your eye on him because he's going to pop up somewhere and find a way to the ball.
Do you have a Wikipedia?
You know what? I thought you would never ask, Brad.
No,
we do this segment, this little segment in the third part of the show, mm-hmm. and it's a Wikipedia check. Yours was pretty boring. I thought I was going to find some dirt on you.
Tyron's excited about being boring.
It's kind of boring, but let's go through it real quick. I'll read off a little bit of this, and you tell me whether it's true or not.
All right.
Okay? It says your name is Tyron Gerard Smith, and you were born December 12th, 1990.
Yeah.
You are an American football offensive tackle for the Dallas Cowboys of the National Football League.
Mm-hmm.
Good so far. All right. You played college football at USC where you won the Morris Trophy.
Yep.
Which this is a weird trophy to me.
What's the Morris
It
Trophy?
recognizes the best offensive and defensive linemen on the West Coast. That's
Okay.
a very random trophy.
Let's hear it for Morris.
All right. You were drafted by the Dallas Cowboys with the 9th overall pick in the 2011 draft. You know you started a trend
What?
of offensive linemen being drafted here in the first round.
And you know it had been decades
Yes.
since the last time the Cowboys took an offensive lineman.
And then it
First
just
round.
started, that just became like, okay, because I don't know if you're aware, but Mr. Jones likes to make splashes with certain
Yep.
things. An offensive lineman in the first round really isn't a huge splash, but I think it's paid off pretty well because I think you have a picture right there on that wall that I just noticed.
Yeah.
It's in here with Drew Pearson and Emmitt Smith and a bunch of other guys. So.
But and this is all for high school accomplishments, isn't it, Joe Trahan?
I'm glad you brought that up
Thank you.
because it says
And
Smith,
we did not even rehearse
We
this.
didn't. It says Smith attended Rancho Verde High School in Moreno Valley, California, where you played offensive and defensive line.
Yes.
Which is what Brad alluded to earlier. So you played. What did you enjoy more, offense or defense?
Offense, definitely.
Really, you liked it because usually the offensive linemen like to hit people, but you liked offense better.
Loved it better.
Okay. It says you earned All-American honors by Parade, Super Prep, Prep Star, Scout.com, and EA Sports, while also receiving numerous other all-region honors. Does that sound right? Okay. You're also a standout in track and field at Rancho Verde. You notched top throws of 14.23 meters in the shot put and 46.62 meters in the discus.
Yeah.
So you weren't a star at track and field, you were a star at field.
Yeah.
What was
Fat
your
man relays.
what was your 40 time? At the combine?
About 4.9.
4.9?
Missed the 4.8 by a little bit. Kind of started veering off to a little side.
Kind
I
of.
don't know why I did.
Oh man! And then it says you were considered a 5-star recruit and described as an amazing right tackle prospect by Rivals.com. You were ranked as the number 6 offensive tackle prospect. Scout.com also viewed you as a 5-star recruit and listed you as number 1 offensive tackle prospect in the nation. And then the last thing I have, it says you have a back tattoo of a pink dolphin.
False.
That part's not true.
You made that up right now, didn't
I
you?
did make that up, but you do have a new tattoo that you just got
Yeah.
finished, right?
Yeah, they finished on my sleeve on my forearm right here. It's a Dragon Ball Z tattoo that I kind of grew up watching.
Dragon Ball Z,
Yeah.
big Dragon Ball Z guy,
Huge.
huh? Who's your favorite character?
Goku.
Okay. There you go, Brad. There's our Wikipedia fact check.
Questions from the audience for Tyron Smith when we come back on the Cowboys Hour.
the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and Omni Hotels and Resorts.
Want to use what the pros use? Jack Black is the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit getjackblack.com today.
It's the Cowboys Hour on Victory Monday. Brad Sham, Shannon Gross, our special guest Tyron Smith, who is mocking me. Tyron's mocking me because you couldn't hear. Could you hear the commercial? Those of you who are here, you couldn't hear the commercial. So it's a music jingle, and I'm hearing it, and I'm kind of drumming along with it, and Tyron looking at me like, "What's the matter with you, old man? What are you doing? What are you doing over there?" The Cowboys will go into their bye week after Sunday. Bye. Oh no, you're waving to the studio audience outside. But we'll have a show next week. We will be right here, and Mike McCarthy's going to sit in that chair right over there. Cowboys head coach is going to be with us next week.
That'll be fun.
I think so too. Fun. I can't wait to get your Wikipedia page on him.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's get some questions from Cowboy fans.
Hey, Tyron. My name is Corey. My question is, what's a favorite play that you like blocking for that may be called in the huddle that you like, without giving out too many details?
To be honest with you, it's not really much a favorite play, but anytime we pass the ball, that's kind of like my thing to do. I love pass blocking, and so I take pride in that. So any kind of pass play we do.
I'm actually surprised to hear you say that, because most offensive linemen prefer run blocking. Mm-hmm. Because it allows you to be the aggressor a little more, right?
Yeah.
Why do you like pass blocking better?
I feel like it goes a little more detail into pass blocking as far as like technique-wise, so I'm like a little obsessed with that.
And so you really are, you've studied the guy and you want to shut him down, and you know all of the mechanical things that you've worked on all week.
Yeah, a lot goes into it, yeah.
There's an engineer running around in your head somewhere, isn't there?
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit, okay.
Hey, Mr. Smith. My name is Kevin. Hope you're doing well. What do you think of Micah Parsons' ability to rush a passer, specifically as a rookie, in relation to other rookies you may have faced throughout your career? Thanks.
I think Parsons, the sky limits with him, and he reminds me a lot of like a guy like Von Miller, that he could rush the edge that way. So the potential is very high for him.
What makes Von Miller good?
That he makes you feel like you run a marathon all game and you don't know which way he's going to go.
An assortment of different moves?
Yeah, pretty much.
Does he have, like, you'll see him later this year, does he have a bigger bag of tricks than other guys?
Well, I'll say he's great setting you up for his moves that he wants to do.
Can you describe the satisfaction of a guy setting you up, and you've studied him so closely that you know the setup, and so he gives you a little move to your inside shoulder, and then he tries to spin, but you've seen that and you know it's coming, and you slide with him and stone him right there? Is that like the best?
That's one of them, but also now putting yourself in position first to make him do his move.
Who gives you? I do a little show with Nate Newton, pretty good offensive lineman in his own right. Mm-hmm. He used to have the one guy he hated to go against was Jerome Brown. He went against some greats. He went against Reggie White and a lot of those guys in that era. Jerome Brown always gave him fits just because of his style. Is there a guy in the league, from a matchup standpoint, that gives you fits?
Not right off my head, no. But I do hate going against those guys that like to avoid a lot when they love to time your punch up right at the last second. Those are guys that will frustrate you a little bit.
Hey, Tyron, my name's Deldrick. He just stole my question. So we're just going to go with DeMarcus Ware. So I guess my question is, my son here, he's 12 years old, and he plays middle school football back home in Virginia. So I guess, do you have any advice for him?
Honestly, just keep working hard, and just learn from any kind of mistakes you do by going through football, and just love it. Love the game.
That is a great answer. Yes, sir.
Hi, Tyron. My name's Eugene. I'm here with my wife, Liz. We're enjoying our second-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you. she wanted to know, when growing up, were there any offensive tackles or offensive linemen that you looked up to or were inspired by?
For me, I first started playing football. Watched my brothers play a little bit growing up, so that's how I kind of got into it. And then also watching Larry Allen growing up, watching a little bit of highlights of him growing up. And so yeah, always wanted to be like them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a great question.
Yeah, and it's a great answer. You've met Larry, haven't you?
Yeah, I have.
I mean, that's a pretty good talk off right there.
A lot of grunting going on in that conversation. Huh?
You and Larry have good conversations.
Yeah, is punch the guy. Yeah.
What's going on, Tyron? My name is Ricky. I actually flew out here from Jersey and had a great win last night, so appreciate all the work you've been putting into. Quick question for you is you talk a lot about technique and how important it is to you, obviously, in just developing yourself ever since from the beginning. Now, you blocked for Tony Romo, obviously. You've blocked for Dak Prescott, two pretty different types of quarterbacks, right? One's a little bit more mobile. Obviously, Dak is more mobile, whatnot. Tony's a little bit more pocket passer. Really, what is the biggest difference, and what type of quarterback do you prefer to block for? Someone that's a little bit more mobile or more of a pocket passer like Tony Romo?
Honestly, I'll block for either or, and it just depends where the quarterback's going to be. You got to know where he's going to be no matter what, whether he's mobile or going to be a pocket passer. It's all about preparation and knowing who you're blocking for. That's all it is.
Seems like a lot of you are from out of town. How many people went to the game last night?
Everybody, almost everybody.
How awesome have the crowds been these last two or three games?
Great, especially after last year, yeah.
Man,
there's hardly anybody there.
Great point,
Tyron.
Great point. But I mean, it's been borderline a playoff atmosphere these last two games. What is that like for you guys to be back to a full stadium and being?
It's great. It's great energy. It's great to be back to normal, and it's great to be in the position that we are right now. But we got a lot of work to get done.
I like that. Yes, young man.
What's your favorite food?
Oh,
favorite food.
Outstanding.
What's your name, sir?
Rohan.
Rohan. Where are you from, Rohan?
From Canada.
From Canada. Man, that's a long way.
And how old are you? How old are you, Rohan?
What?
How old are you?
I'm 9.
9. Okay. Same age as Tyron's son. Okay,
Yeah.
your favorite. We got about a minute. Your favorite food?
Burger. What about yours?
Pizza.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Okay. Good job. Normally, with a minute, I would start saying goodbye. We got time for 3 more questions with Tyron with a minute left. Okay. Did you have another one?
I made fan art, so at the end of the show, take it.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. We've got time for one more. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Mr. Smith. I'm Shaggy. You literally have Dak Prescott's back. How does he thank you? Is it like a head tap, bump?
It's usually a high five sometimes, or a nice little chest bump every once in a while.
And
Nice
the best Christmas gift he's ever given you guys?
I don't know. It gets better every year.
He's like, I'm not done getting them.
Yeah. I said so far up till now.
I don't know. Honestly, I like all the gifts he gives me. Gives us, I guess.
He's a grateful guy. You know what? So are we. Thank Tyron Smith for being with us. Thank you. By the way, I'm your biggest fan. Victory Monday. Enjoy it, everybody. Mike McCarthy will be here next week for Shannon Gross. I'm Brad Sham. Thanks for being with us on the Cowboys Hour.
Let's go.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?